to order to get disciplined with those things, correct?
Hmm. Well, I guess.
Are you grounded at a playground? Are you grounded at a restaurant? No, you're grounded at home.
Right. Okay. But
So that's what I
so your
mean.
whole point is your whole point is, right? Keep them at
Yeah.
home and keep them quote unquote grounded until you physically see improvement and it's not timed. Have I understood that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Thank you. So, how can you see an improvement on stealing, trespassing, and all these other kind of crimes that the youth commit? How can you see improvement on that if they're stuck at home?
So those things wouldn't just stem from only being outside. Like if they step outside, then all of a sudden they have an urge to do these things. No, the problems will also arise and would started inside their own house. They had a break, hit, screw, be disrespectful, going in areas they shouldn't be, which is trespassing in their own home. So the start and what caused this would start in their own home. So that's what it should be especially addressed. So kids don't just do this when they're out in public. They would certainly do it at home as well.
Okay. And what age group would you consider a kid?
Under the age of 17. But the kids that
Right?
will understand or get a gist, not the full concept, but a gist of right and wrong, you can be 3 to 17 years old, young
Right,
and old.
but then you've got to put maturity into play here.
Not necessarily, because I'm not looking at a
100%
3-year-old
necessary.
and thinking, "Oh, are you mature enough for me to like tell you like hitting and spitting at somebody's wrong?" No, I would just say that's wrong because a 3-year-old can still comprehend this is not good. It's just because they're not mature like to a certain extent, and even you can be like 14 and still be immature, and you can be 28 years old and you can still be immature. So immature mature doesn't really come with age. It comes with your life experiences.
Right. Not necessarily. You do mature with age as well. You mature with life experiences. I completely agree with that.
No,
But
maturity is
you
just
also
life instances, like how much of you got. That's what it is.
right. Okay. I was gonna say something, though I forgot. Give me a second.
They don't get morals until you teach them morals. Exactly. So if you honestly think that a 3-year-old's not mature enough, why are you still disciplining a 3-year-old? Why you still tell them no, that's not good if you think they can't comprehend that? You still would tell them because they can still get a gist of what's right and wrong. 100%.
Hmm.
And you don't teach your kid morals, you teach your kid manners. Okay? Clown cat. But anyways, so like, why did you disagree? Like, because you come up here with like not agreeing. So what's the reasoning behind that?
I think basically your point of locking up a kid is wrong. That's my main thing because
Okay.
locking up a kid, yeah, it's just gonna mess them mentally rather than fix them.
So what do
Depriving
you?
a kid of
Yeah.
depriving a kid of life's joys and the joy of growing up is going to mess them up for their future. Social abilities, so the ability to talk to people in public, that's one of them. And just being out in the world, experiencing what life is like outside. I understand that these days kids get to, I don't know, 10 years old, 11 years old, and they've got a phone or an iPad, blah blah blah, social media and all this. I think that's wrong. Me personally, I do think that's wrong. That social media is allowed for, but these days are doing, and it's implementing bans on those social media, which I think is a good
I don't
step
think that's coming
towards.
from social media, them acting like this, or just
I
from
think it
social
is.
media. Okay. Well, I want to
So,
go back on the point where you said it's going to affect them mentally. So I'm only
hmm.
looking at the kids that exhibit these behaviors. So if they're already exhibiting these behaviors on a daily basis, they're already not good mentally. if they think this is okay to do all the time. So they're not already up there the right way. So giving them an opportunity to make them really sit there and think about their decisions makes, some people say it's isolations, but it's really not. If you still with other people in that house, it's the only right way. Give me a second. Anyways, and also it's not a form of isolation either, because you're still around people. Okay? Isolation would be prison, where you usually are one cell, you're in your cell for 23 hours. That people think those work to help reform people, because you really sit there and think about why you're there. And that's the same thing a child can also comprehend. Why am I in this room? Why would I not get out? Why is all my stuff taken away? Because I did something wrong. So who cares if they get a little depressed? They're already not a good child to begin with. So discipline is not to make sure your child doesn't sustain some type of mental disorder. It's to make sure they become a good adult or a good child moving forward. You can be a little bit depressed and be a good person. So I hate when people use that, oh, they're not going to be mentally, they're going to be mad at you, and they might have, suffer from depression because they're isolated. They're not even isolated for like 6 months to 2 years. That's what they really would experience a mental thing, is if they're isolated in a room for 6 to 2 months, in 6 months to 2 years. That's when you can see those effects. But I'm not saying keep them inside for 6 months or 2 years. I'm saying until they see improvement, and that shouldn't take 24 hours, let alone 3, to see improvement of your child. Or a week.
Don't agree with that last part, because if someone's out there doing all these things that you stated,
What do you
right? Let's put it as a general, like committing crimes, right? Is that okay to put it as a committing crimes general? Or not with your points?
Can you repeat that?
So let's make this general, right? So a kid committing crimes, yes?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about just committing crimes and being disrespectful?
I'm talking about everything in the description right now.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say the general then.